What's up, Quadcopter fans? HangarDrone.com. Today I'm going to be putting on my Walkera 2DG gimbal, and I'll kind of go through the process of putting this on and some best practices. If you do have a camera, it's not FPV, or you're unable to control your camera from your controller to turn it on and off, it's a good thing to power it up prior to hooking this thing up to the quadcopter, because once the gimbal gets power, and every time you try to turn it to hit the power button or the record button, it'll actually move away from you sometimes. So I got a yellow light, which means that I'm recording. I just have the power cable in. I do not have the pitch wire, so it's giving me some issues. You want to make sure that you have some sort of safety device to hold the gimbal bottom portion to the top mounting plate, because if they come undone, your camera's going to come off. So we'll go ahead and grab the V303 Seeker. That's what we'll be putting it on today. And I'm going to go ahead and slide it into the groove right here. And then we'll go ahead and power this up. Now when powering it up, it's going to give us a few seconds before power hits the gimbal. We need to make sure that this camera is perfectly straight. If it's not, it'll cause a tilt and a weird vibration. So if we look underneath the quadcopter, you can see on the gimbal the light is green, which means that we have power. If it's green red, typically you have an issue. So there's very little clearance between the quadcopter and the ground, so we just want to make sure we're on level area. We'll arm the motors. I actually had the return to home on for some reason. Must have hit it in my bag when I turned the quadcopter on, so I had to recalibrate the quadcopter. But V303 hovering nice and steady. You can see the gimbal on the bottom there. It's doing its job, nice and level. It's a little rainy out today, and the wind's blowing in from the left, so it's a little cold, and there's some moisture in there, so everything is a little bit exposed today on the quadcopter. So won't fly long, but just want to get a short flight in with the gimbal and best practices. Now if this did have the pitch wire, it is only a 2-axis. I could either hit up or down. You'll notice on my transmitter I don't have the buttons on there painted on. I do have the buttons. They do work, but this is actually a trainer controller on the back. I had to get a new controller because my transmitter wasn't working when I got it from GearBest. So if the pitch wire was on there, I could move the camera up and down on the pitch. There is no roll though with the 2-axis gimbal, which is what I have strapped on there currently right now. And if you're looking how to hook that pitch wire up, I do have a video on there. Unfortunately, my gimbal, it doesn't react correctly when that pitch wire is in there, and it causes it to vibrate quite a bit, roll uncontrollably. But ever since putting in the new receiver on the V303, handling great, excellent range these days. So we'll go ahead and take this up in the air. So we're pretty high up. Nice thing about the V303 is the lights, allow you to figure out your orientation super easy. We're at a hover now in the air, and I like these spring-loaded controls because some people don't, but you just let off and keeps it at the correct proper throttle. GPS has helped keeping it in the correct position. So we'll start bringing this down slow. I did get the wobble of death on the V303 one time coming down for a landing. It was partly due to the props I had on there. They were DJI knockoffs, just plastic, and wasn't producing enough lift, and the thing just went into the wobble of death and fell. Luckily it didn't hurt the quadcopter. Still very flyable. So we'll bring it down in stages to avoid that extra stress on it, especially because we do have extra weight on the quadcopter with the gimbal on there. So we got up about 200 feet or so in the air. Go out horizontally on our range. Still getting a good solid green light. So I had really good luck ever since changing out that receiver inside. I must have just had a defective receiver and a defective transmitter. So I got a little weird action there from the quadcopter. Over rotated a little bit on the stick. But I'll splice in the video from the gimbal so that way we can see what the video looked like. I'm just keeping it nice and easy today, just due to the amount of rain and saturation and dampness on the ground and in the air. I don't want anything to, I don't want to have to make an emergency landing with this and land on the ground because it's pretty wet and soggy. It was the first time the rain stopped, so I went to get out there, take it for a test flight. I'm going to continue flying it without the pitch wire in there. It's not something that I personally need, so but you know, this right here serves my purpose, just to get steady, stable video with the least amount of jello possible. Now I probably will switch out the anti-vibration balls or the dampening balls on there. These are a little bit soft. They might need a little bit stiffer, so then that way it reduces the amount of jello. But the gimbal itself does vibrate from time to time. I've watched back quite a bit of the video from onboard recording, and I've noticed that you know, there is a vibration with the gimbal, a lot less without the pitch wire on there, but still a vibration with it. So, but you just can't beat this thing when it's working correctly for the price. How stable and steady it flies gives you a good appreciation for GPS quadcopters when it is working correctly. When it's not, super pain in the ass. It'll get you frustrated, but I'm glad mine's starting to work decent again, and limited problems, so now I feel more confident taking it out and trying to get some cool footage out of the quadcopter, which I intended to do anyways, to use this as a camera bird. So got enough quadcopters to fly that don't have any cameras on them or produce crappy video. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in here for landing. So we'll gotta look for a nice level spot. It's the second part to flying these quadcopters too, as well, with the gimbal on it, the V303 with this Walkera gimbal. So there's very little clearance between the gimbal and the quadcopter, so you have to make sure that you find a level spot. This looks probably as level as we're gonna get it right here. We're gonna bring it down as smooth as possible, and and this ground is very unlevel because of the rain, and I'm going to get the quadcopter up as soon as possible because this ground is very wet too as well. So it's the V303 Seeker, Walkera G2D gimbal on it. Working good, as you can see. Handling nice. Just the power wire in there. If you have any questions, comments, be sure to leave them below. Like the video. Be sure to slap a like on it and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos in the future.